Hello, I'm Jeff Ondash, and welcome to 66 Days to Success. Last October, we did a show on a young man, Gary Housteau, and he was battling stage 4 colorectal cancer. He had a colostomy bag on, and life was just not going in the right direction for him. His life had completely been turned around. It was a story that out of the 2 years that I've done this show, I've probably got more comments on the street from people about that particular episode than anything else. This guy was really battling every single day for his life, and he came on and did the show and shared with us what it was like from the day that he was told by his doctors that he had colon cancer to about 6 months later, where he had gone through about a dozen of the cancer treatments, the chemotherapy. It was a really, really tough battle for him. It was a very emotional episode. I don't know if you saw it, but you can go to the Facebook page on Armstrong to bring it up, or YouTube. I'm sure you could bring it up there too. But it was a very, very enlightening episode on what this man was going through every day in his battle to live. Not just to defeat cancer, but to live and go on with his life. I believe he was only 52 or 53 years old, a very young man. And a whole lot to live for. Had a very beautiful daughter in Boardman High School who was a junior at the time. But his life was turned upside down. And we did that show. And at the end of the show, we said, you know what, Gary, we're going to do this again next year. Same time, 1 year later, in October, and we're going to talk about how you beat cancer. And it's now August, and we're doing the show with Gary Housteau. He's beat it. He beat stage 4 colorectal cancer with a great positive mental attitude that he had and the will to live and to go on every single day. He never ever once took a step backwards or gave up. And he certainly didn't show people out there how much fear that he had inside him, how much he was every day when he had his alone time, how that took its toll on him. But he was very positive, and he went out and he fought and fought and fought. And they took the colostomy bag out, and then he was told that he was cancer-free from stage 4 cancer. A lot of that had to do with the support system. A lot of that had to do with his personal spiritual beliefs inside of him. And a lot of that had to do with his positive mental attitude. Gary is one of the most positive people you ever meet. I don't know, I can't fathom what it would be like to fight that fight that he and others out there are fighting right now. He's cancer-free. There's many, many others that out there are going through the same battle that he just went through. And hopefully this interview today is going to make them realize that they can go out and defeat cancer like he did. It's a great interview coming up. I'm so glad to do it with him again. So sit back and relax and watch this very happy interview with Gary Housteau and how he took on cancer and beat it. And welcome back to 66 Days to Success, and I'm as happy as could be because I'm sitting here with Gary Housteau. You know, we said a year. We ended our show last time. We said same time next year. We joked about it, and we said that we would make this an annual event. We didn't make a year. This is 9 months now that we're getting back together to talk about the fact that you beat stage 4 colorectal cancer. Man, I am so glad for you. I really am, and I know you are. And tell us a little bit. Let's walk through backwards again. Just a real quick recap of how you found out about it, what you went through, and then the elation at the end. Let's save that for a little.
Well, it's just
later.
been a long journey. First of all, I didn't know much about cancer other than you hear about it and chemo, and had no idea what was in store for me. But you think about. When I think back on it, when I first heard that I had cancer right from the doctor after he did a scope on me, your heart goes below your feet. I can't describe the feeling because it's an unknown. It's just you don't know fear. You don't know what to do. Will you make my daughter's graduation or wedding? All that stuff just takes over. I mean, it really takes over your mind. So I just try to deal with it from a positive aspect right from the beginning. I can honestly say this, Jeff, and I know it's easy to say after the fact, I never believed that I wasn't going to beat this. Now, I don't know if that was, how legit that was, because I don't know what kind of cancer I had. But my mindset was so positive of taking this on. and geez, how it just kind of just worked out. I never thought I'd be cancer-free at this point,
But I
period,
remember
never.
You told us in the show that you found out on March 25th you were going to a basketball
Yeah,
tournament.
before the
Never-
state tournament.
Never left that exam. You ended up having an operation that
Friday.
weekend, basically.
Yeah. Wednesday to Friday, I was on this, had my cancer removed from my colon. But that's when they found that it spread to my liver as well.
And that's what is
That's-
stage 4.
Yeah, when it travels or when it, yeah, because I didn't, like I said, I knew nothing about it at the time. So I asked the doctor, is this stage 4? He goes, this is what stage 4 is, when the cancer gets mobile and you don't know where or how it's going to go. You know, the good thing is I always had good blood work, you know. Everything's worked out and I felt positive along the way. But again, you just don't ever know.
No, it's got to be surreal, really. I mean, everybody. I had a tiny little thing with skin cancer once, which is nothing compared to what you or other people that are fighting. But so I didn't even know. I was young. It didn't mean anything to me because I was a young kid when it happened. But hearing that word and not living your life the way you were, and all of a sudden, boom, you got cancer. I mean, it's got to be a surreal moment that really you don't exactly. What emotion can you have at that point? You just gotta.
You don't, and then to throw on punishment on top of it is the colostomy bag. That made it unbearable.
That's because they had to remove part of your colon to take the cancer, the tumor out.
They had to disconnect it.
And one of the things I watched the show again just to learn a little bit and on what we talked about. You had a tumor in you, and the doctor told you it was in there for years.
Probably 5 to 7 years. So get your colonoscopy, you guys out there and ladies, because they can find it as a pulp possibly and remove it before it grows into what it did.
That's just an amazing thing. I listened to that. I actually reran it again and thought, my God, that was in you that long. You had no idea it was in there. Living your life normally until until some bad things happened. You had to go get the thing removed.
I knew something was wrong as early as probably January. I was feeling something, but I was hoping it was like diverticulitis or something. I don't know if we had already talked about this or not, but I was hoping it was just something that I was gonna. Okay, I'll go in, get my check up, maybe take some antibiotics, and then go to the basketball tournament. That was my mindset.
That was the plan. That didn't happen that week.
I still remember to the day that I went in, emergency, took a scan, just a regular CAT scan, come back to the room, and my doctor, she was a lady doctor, she put her hand on, she goes, you won't be going to your basketball tournament. We're concerned with some stuff. We're going to have to admit you. So I was admitted on that Wednesday afternoon, and the tournament started with or without me on Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Columbus, and unfortunately it was without me. But Friday I was on they removed my colon cancer by Friday, and then I became chased to beat this.
And this went on. At that point, then you came home, and then they set up a schedule of chemo.
Yes.
And there was an original schedule of chemo, and then an extended series of chemo treatments.
They told me I have 12 rounds, and we'll go from there to see. Well, I guess 12 turned into 21. And when it started...
They just had the numbers backwards.
That's true. Never thought of that. Yeah. You just said that right now. But it turned into that, and I didn't know. At first when I started the chemo, I was taking it on. I went to work out. I had 2-3 workouts even a day. By my 21st round, Jeff, I would get to my car, and I had to sit there. I couldn't even almost drive home. It just beats you up over time. That's my experience. Everybody has their own experience with chemo.
One other thing that you talked about in the last one is, again, thankfully, a lot of people don't have to go through what you go through. So they hear the word chemo, they hear the word cancer. It really doesn't register because it hasn't hit them unless they've lived it or they lived with somebody in their family that has it.
Yes.
Your chemo was not just to go in, sit down, do it, and leave. Yours was a 3-day process.
Yeah, originally, that's how it started. First of all, let me thank Dr. Yvonne. He was my surgeon who did the colonoscopy, colon stuff, and he put it back. He did the reversal and everything. So he's been great. And Dr. Christian is my cancer doctor, the Blood and Cancer Center in Canfield over there. And all the nurses that were there, I was a headache at times. Probably not really bad, but for me, I was very impatient. I wanted things to happen yesterday, and but the nurses were great. Everybody was great there. You go into the room, Jeff, if you're a cancer patient. Again, I knew nothing about it, and you start out. You just sit in a big recliner chair, and they hook you up, And about 3 hours, 4 hours later, 4.5, earlier it was almost 5 hours, I think. They, you just sit there, feet up, recline, and I put my headset on, and you just drip, 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 Originally, I would go back Tuesday, do another treatment, not as long, like an hour and a half. And then Wednesday, and in the meantime, they give you a portable unit. So from Monday to Wednesday, when I leave the cancer center, I take the portable unit with me and I strap it on. I'd be walking the mall in the wintertime with a thing hanging like a Flavor Flav, like a clock watch hanging around my neck, because with the unit would give me chemo for 3 days.
Extra for 3 days.
For 3 days. So that's
so
one
this
session.
obviously
they eliminated the Tuesday eventually, so it was just Monday, Wednesday after a certain amount of time.
So not only, I mean, we never even talked about this in the last show, when you were battling this and going through it, not only do you go through the cancer and then the colostomy, but your life also changes in your career too. I mean, you're a very active guy. You're out doing pictures everywhere, and that's part of what you do in photography for athletics. And that really changes. So if someone worked at GM or somewhere else where you had a 9 to 5 or a 5-day-a-week job, everything changes. Even that's got to change in their life. So
yeah, a lot of things changed. I was fortunate. I just took the time to concentrate on my health. I was able to do that, and that was the main focus of getting better. I didn't know how long I would be done. When it went from 12, I thought I was, no, we had to recycle and start over again. And it's a mental game as much as physical. That's what the really hard part is, especially when you're alone. And that's why I try to be active and be involved, because the downtimes were really kind of bad.
When your mind's idle.
Yeah, that's when you think of the things, the bad things, but then you turn it into positive. And so I would work out a little bit more, and but you can't control anything but what you can control, and that was how you're going to approach it. I mean, that's should I just be a victim and say, woe is me? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, and I still wanted to be involved, because Jeff, I've honestly known people that got diagnosed after me and are gone already. Different kind, everything's different. Cancer's different. But I mean, I consider myself very fortunate to have the experience. I mean, it's been crazy, and it still is. I get still people, when I'm walking in the park, that they congratulate me, and I would dream of this when I'm with the bag on, to be able to do this without it, and I'm doing it now. It kind of gets.
It's kind of like the greatest gift.
It is.
You get to keep going
on. And I
want
to make the most of it, and I want to hope, if I can inspire one or two people. If I can share a story, a friend of mine, and I'll just say a friend named Sam, he had a buddy that was doing some work with, and he said, I was watching this show on cable, and I saw this guy, which was me, and he goes, I went out and got a colonoscopy. And he didn't know at the time that Sam and I were related, or friends, and he said, that's my buddy. And so he ended up getting a colonoscopy just because of this show, and he didn't even know who I was. So what I just gave him, I brought him, gave him a shirt to give that guy, to just let him know, thank you for doing that. So I know one person. I know there's a couple more that are going colonoscopy just because of what I went through.
Let's move forward a little bit now. Yeah. So you go through this battle. We know it started on March 25th, and we did the show last October.
Yes.
And when did you find out? And then you had, I think then you were on your 12th, I think that was your last one was coming up, and then they kept extending. And I know in talks that, in Facebook messages, you were talking about how I've got to go a couple more. And, we went through that, or you went through that. You're at 21 now. When did they come in and tell you, Gary, you did it, buddy. You beat cancer?
If I can say it in a short one, that both my Dr. Vaughn and Dr. Christian knew how much I wanted to get rid of my bag. I mean, I begged them at times, please, what can I do? So finally they relented, and I had to get another scan so that they can see my plumbing's all connected, if you will, for lack of a better term. Everything was good, so that was the main impetus of it. We went out, that they were able to connect it, and it wasn't associated with how much chemo or not I had to go yet. They were just doing this to get rid of it.
So this was separate from
This was separate.
And wasn't there a problem with that? They had a schedule, something happened, and you had to go back again.
I didn't quite follow the rules to the T, and it turned out better because, I would hate to have had an infection or something. That's why I said if if there's an infection, it can get worse inside and open up. So they had to make sure everything was good before we did that. I had to follow the right protocols and everything. So I finally, they took out everything that connected it, and when I go back to get my scan, they find out there's no tumors. So they had to wait till I healed up from the surgery to take another scan just to see, okay, that's where I thought, okay, they're going to put me on another set of chemo, 12 or whatever. I wasn't expecting to be cancer-free. And at that point, that's when I found out that, you're good.
So what? Go ahead.
I can't explain it.
You have to. You got to put it in words
only
somehow.
My doctor, Dr. Christian. First of all,
Had to
he's
be
a
a
little
breakdown
guy. Then I hugged him. I probably broke him in two, because it was just, I wasn't even expecting it. Honestly, and to hear you're cancer-free and you're good. We go, what does that mean? He goes, your cancer, it's gone. There's no tumors. And I was expecting to go to chemo. Even right from there to go to chemo.
There was one part too when you said that there might be the possibility that this tumor had gone up because it had moved, and it would be it moved into your liver.
Anything, liver, yeah.
And they were talking about going in and doing, because the liver can regenerate itself, so they were going to go in and take part of the liver out. So so this tumor just shrunk away and
just for the chemo treatments, I believe.
That's just
unbelievably.
God.
Because they were, from my understanding, they were hoping to either centralize it where they could cut it out or just keep treating it. And I thought I was just going to keep getting some more treatments. And he goes, there's no tumors. And really? So what does that mean? There's no cancer.
That's just amazing.
Yeah. I went in and hugged all my nurses. Well, they thanked them all. And
you had to be on the phone for days. Man.
No, it was just an incredible experience. For how horrible you feel when you get the diagnosis, it's even that much better when you hear that you don't have cancer.
You beat it.
And then I feel guilty in a way, Jeff, because I've had this whole journey has been unbelievable, from just the people that you reconnect with, and the people that wish you well, and I had great fundraiser by Ryan Kelly at they used to own Kelly's Bar, and that was
Mike Cifaldi
with Lights Out Management. There's just been so many people that have done so much, and I just am so grateful.
And you're going to a graduation this year.
And my daughter will be a senior at Boardman, and she's my world, and she was my reason. I used to tell people.
That's what you said on the show.
That's my reason to beat cancer. And
everybody needs a focal point when they're doing something, and she was yours.
But you got to chase, Jeff. If I chase people, and now I'm doing it with my weight, and I'm going to try to do the best I can to get my weight back down to where I was even before I had the cancer. So if one to just feel better during football
season. If anybody could do that, it's going to be you.
Yeah.
And weight is not easy when you can. Let me tell you, when you get in your 50s, your mid-50s, the late 50s, I just hit the big 6-0, your metabolism just laughs at you. It's like,
But you got to go harder than that.
You got to go harder. It makes it a lot tougher. But if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's going to be you.
I hope to, because I used to really tell people, I'm trying to save my life. When I was working out for cancer, that was my mindset. You got to do this, or else you're going to, it's going to beat you. And so I have that. I really believe I have that same attitude now, because I have started to redo a healthy lifestyle, and I just hope I can carry it on into the future, and then be an example. Because if
you got one guy in there. That show, the show helped get at least one person in to get a colonoscopy.
But you gotta make it a goal, a dream, and when you're fighting cancer, and you're fighting for your life. And it makes it easier to chase it, because
every day that has
how
to weigh
if you're
on
on a diet, you can say, well, okay, but then you go cheat and you do something, no big deal, nobody knows, you don't, but with cancer, you don't know, and anything you do is going to affect you negatively. You got to consider everything that you do. So my thing was just to be aggressive and be positive mentally, because mental, that'll eat you up. That was one of the main things I found about cancer. The mental part is really, really tough.
Harder than the physical, because
it's just as hard.
You seem that it really didn't nauseate you. Didn't have those kind of sicknesses. You never lost your hair. Those kind of effects didn't come your way.
I had some things. Remember, we were out in the cold, and I was covering my fingertips because the extremities get, you know. But now I love cold water, and I just drink. I couldn't drink. I had to drink room temperature water for 15 months, you know, along the way. And now I just love the cold water. Yeah.
You know, this show's all about motivation, and
Yes.
we kind of diverted when we had you on the last time to tell your story, and your motivation every day was obviously to not give in at all and to keep
First
fighting.
thing.
But really, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the support system
Yes.
that you did. You know, the support that you had, the family that you have, and the friends that you have, and the community around you really, really rallied. And that had to be a big, big part in this too.
It was because, you know, I don't want to say, you know, it's kind of like people tell you, you're almost living an obituary, and they tell you ahead while you're still living, you know. Hey, does that sound right? You know, when people really tell you, you know, what it means. When you hear people talk to you, you know, they're really expressing those same sentiments that you probably read in an obituary or something when you're gone. I got to live that when I'm still alive, you know, and hear the
telling you what they thought of you and what they felt for you,
know, and that's, you know, that was part of it as well. It's all just, it was a surreal experience. It really was, Jeff.
Do you feel now that you've gone through it, you had the hell of a battle, you beat it, you defeated cancer? Do you feel like that there's a reason for it? There's an extra, like a calling that you need to do now to go out and try to help somebody else or keep this message going? And
I'm just trying to influence, inspire as many people as I can, whether it's through photography, which I love to do, whether it's through sports, which I try to be visible, and I try to, you know, show kids that I care, not just, you know, I know photographers who they think that's a job. You know, go cover the Buckeyes on a Saturday. That's the job.
Tough job.
That's the labor. I'm very fortunate in so many aspects, and if I could like make people, you know, find one thing, whether it's their health, whether it's a career, whether it's whatever it might be, man, just go chase it because you got one life.
Train that goes quick.
Years
go by so fast.
You got one life.
I hit 60 and I
got a ways yet. So.
Where'd the decade go? You know, where'd my 50s go? It's gone.
I want to make the most of it, and like I said, I want to be around for my daughter's wedding, and
you will be.
Whatever happens, you know, it's just been the whole thing.
You'll be about 40 pounds lighter probably by then.
That'll be nice. I mean,
you'll do it.
But you know, it's just been a great overall experience, and you know, and to go through that, and at the same time, you know, with my family. You know, that was my next place where I'm going.
Yeah,
I mean, the things we've been through, and my mom as well. You know, she already lost one child, and you know,
your older brother Chuck.
Maybe Chuck. It'll be 2010. He's been gone, and he's my mentor, if you will, or as far as you know what we've done with the playbook over the years. That was all Chuck. You know,
there were 4 children.
Yeah.
There was 3 brothers and a sister, and Chuck was the oldest.
Then Ray.
Shar, and myself. So you're the baby of the family.
I'm the youngest.
Okay, and Chuck passed away from a massive heart attack.
Yes, in
10 years ago.
Unexpected, totally. Goodbye. Never said, and that's the thing. He never said goodbye.
So now, last year on March 25th, you find out that you have stage 4 colon cancer. You have this big fight that you're going through, and then you get through it. But now you got to deal with something else, and again, it's the old saying. Every time it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up.
Yes.
And just from your family perspective, from your mother's perspective, she lost a son
and a husband.
And now she went through the battle with you and your fight. You defeated that,
and it gets better, if you will. I'm getting ready for my colostomy reversal at Southwoods. Great hospital, love it. Eddie Moransky, you're wonderful, and everything there. At the same time, when I'm doing like an orientation for my surgery, I get a call while I'm in there. I come out, Ray's had a heart attack. Wow, you know, so that changes the whole scope. I still have cancer at the time.
Let me stop you right there. Hold that thought. Ray is probably one of the,
if you know Ray.
In the Mahoning Valley, you can't be in better shape than this guy. He's like an action figure. He's sculpted.
Had caffeine in his life.
Yeah, he does everything, eats the right things, does the right things, runs all the time, lifts all the time.
Yes.
Not an ounce of fat on him. You can see that dude's like an action figure.
I'm more like Chuck, and he's raised a little different than
physically. Go ahead now.
So, you know, we don't know what's going on, so we rushed downtown. He was down in St. E's downtown, and, you know, we heard so many stories that he was gone, and you know the fireman was there to help rescue him. Mark Kellerman, thank you, Mark, and so.
Yeah, so he has this heart attack,
So-
and there was a fireman there at the scene
At working
that
out, one of his friends who
was applying CPR and tried to keep him going until the paramedics got there.
Exactly. And so we figured we were here and he didn't have any oxygen for 10 minutes or, it wasn't as extreme as that, but Mark did keep him alive because he had no pulse, at the time until the people got there. So, Dr. Fulton was Ray's heart surgeon who saved his life. And he come out after the surgery, everything okay, he had a massive 5 bypass and all this stuff. He goes, he's explaining, we don't know how much, what's going to be like when he wakes up because we didn't know how much oxygen he needed. We didn't know anything, and really he didn't know as much either at the time, other than he saved his heart from, I guess he had a 15% capacity he was living on
Wow.
his heart. So anyway, he ends up being okay. We were blessed that way instead of maybe losing
And
two
really,
more kids.
there wasn't really much heart damage. I mean, when you're in your 50s and you have a massive, there's usually a lot of heart damage that goes with that, especially if when you have 15% of your heart
Yeah.
at capacity working.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
No.
And he came back. It's you talk about
He's
miracles,
got-
man. You
he's
got to
got-
believe in miracles when you see
And they're
that.
bypass. There's no stents or none. These are bypasses. So he's got all new. He's probably healthier than he's ever been now. And of course he's paying attention to the doctors because he knows he cheated death as well, and he's pushing a little bit because that's who Ray is. But overall, he's healthy as can be now. I'm on my way back to being completely healthy. That's my goal, to be an example, continue on as I go, not just cancer, but into the future. And
When you look at life and you look at how many years we've lived already,
Yes.
and how many more years we possibly, each one of us have, we don't know, but let's say 20 or 30, hopefully for all of us.
Yeah.
But 1 year is not a defining thing
It was
in
a
a
rock-
lot of ways.
it's a rocky road.
But for you, that 1 year,
15 months of really
was
crazy.
that, it was 15? Wow.
Oh, when you think about everything that. So now I'm playing with house money, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying, and I want to try to help people. I want to try to inspire people. Ray's the same way. He's back to doing what he does, and that's all we can do is try to just be healthy now. I don't drink alcohol at all, which I love now. None. I don't. Why bother when you had liver cancer? Why even bother? So that I'm healthier that way.
And it's
as well.
out of the liver too. That just amazes me.
Yeah, me too.
I can't. It's,
But I'm still getting checked. I have blood work and I have scans to make sure, because I guess you're in remission. You're not cured. Cancer.
now, how long do you keep going back?
I think
with
there's
the-
gonna be 4 to 6 months right now. Will be my scans, but I go every 6 weeks to the cancer center. They do all my blood work, make sure that looks good, and every 6 months from June, July, whatever, I forget the date. That'll be my next scan, and they'll just make sure. Hopefully, there's no tumors that they see around. But it's been a great. In a way, I'm glad I experienced it. It's been unbelievable.
Well, you really are an inspiration. The people that I ran into that watch your show, we've done this show for about almost 2 years now, and there's only a couple shows that people will come up and remark on, Pavlik, Mancini, and you, and when they
Good company.
Yeah, it is. And when they talk about your show especially, and how the emotions that they had watching it, because you didn't know, you at one point said, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't know if tomorrow's going to be the day that ends it. I don't know if tomorrow's going to be the day that I'm on my way to getting better. And you're fighting with that. And these people were genuine. You could see the emotion in their faces that, you touched an awful lot of people that saw the show on here. And we're just a small little cable access show. So even if it saved one person, it did its justice. And I got to tell you, man, when we finished, Greg, loaded up and we went on our way, I bawled my eyes out because there were 3 times that you got very emotional in the interview, and I did everything I could. I was sitting this way, and you were over there, and when you started tearing up and welling up, I looked this way so they couldn't see my face because it was so hard to hold back. I mean, I could not imagine what you were going through, and as I watched you go through this pain, and I saw the pain on your face, the genuine hurt that you had inside you, but yet I saw the positive aspects that you had and you were admitting, and man, I'm just so glad that we're able to sit here today and talk about what we're talking about.
How can you not? I mean, you know the people some that were behind me from the very beginning. Greg Goldis was wonderful, and he's been through similar things.
Greg's a great
20,
guy.
30 years ago. He was there from the beginning. Ronnie Podesta,
Ronnie's
there
a great
from the
guy
beginning.
too.
Bob Hannon, there from the beginning. There's so many. I don't want to. Bruce Burge, who's a great friend of our family, lives out of town, has some sports interests from the community. You know, he's been involved. There's so many people, and I don't want to draw a blank. I'm so grateful. My family,
Well,
obviously,
they know who they are. They don't.
Ray Shar.
They all did it not because
But
they did it because they love you and because of the person you were in the past and leading up to that particular moment. So what you got, like I said in that interview, I do believe in the law of what you put out there is what you get back. And what you got back at that particular time is what you deserve to get back from what you did for people.
That's the way, in a way, I wish people can experience. You know, there's a song, "Live Like You Were Dying," like you're dying, and I didn't know how I was supposed to live. People, and then people, the one thing I got all the time, "You look great," you know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I look great. Okay, and that because I guess they expected me to be withering away. I guess that was the.
Well, that's people's perceptions that you lose weight on chemo, you lose your hair.
I'm gaining weight.
You said that in there. You actually put weight on between.
I'm actually gaining weight, and so all that's great, you know, and I don't expect nothing. But then, you know, they go on their life, and I still have cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate the sentiments, whatever wishes and prayers you give to me. I appreciate that, but you're going to go on with your life, and I'm going to go on still having cancer, and still, I got to just, you know, get up tomorrow and do the same thing again.
So for the people out there that might be watching this that has a loved one that's fighting cancer or somebody out there fighting cancer right now, what would you tell them?
Be positive. That's the main thing. Pray a lot. That's just what your own personal beliefs. You have to, whatever you believe in, just pray. You know, I go to the Y. I saw they got a little chapel right there. I don't leave the building to this day without thanking the Lord
for another day.
Yeah, because you don't know, and that's the thing I could say. You don't know, so you got to fight it. You got to chase. I would chase. Like now, I'm chasing. I want to lose weight. That's what I'm going to chase now. But you got to have something to believe in that's going to get you through it. And my daughter was my main reason. But you got to do it. You just got to make it happen. Otherwise, it's going to overcome you. You know.
It's that old word, perspective, man. You have to put things in a perspective every day of what really is important. And there's nothing more important than you having another day.
And it's like football. You can only control what you can control, and you got to do your role. You know, you hear coaches say that, do your role. And my role was just to be positive, be aggressive, do what I can, and still try to, you know. And I kept it positive all the time,
Yeah,
Jeff.
you did.
Whether it's,
in
wasn't always filmed.
In public,
Yes,
you did.
yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some private moments that weren't really good for you.
Because with this colostomy, it was like a punishment. It really, and I only complained to a few people. I mean, really, then you guys know who you are, my friends that I did complain, and my sister was one of them. There's 3 or 4 people that I would just complain about. It's overwhelming. I mean, when you know, because that's all I can say about it. But that's why
be positive.
You just have to, and you have to have a goal, and hopefully, you know, the good Lord will take care of you.
I want to end it with this in the show.
And I thank you, Jeff.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, buddy.
People know about my story.
It's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story because we got to have another show.
Yeah.
And you don't understand how happy I am for that. Yeah. And we'll do it again next year, like we said. Now, but I would be remiss if I did not say this from the last show.
Okay.
You made the statement that you talked about your obit, and that you were writing your obit, and that your obit was going to be, you said, He lost his battle to cancer.
Courageous battle with cancer.
Courageous
Maybe-
battle.
maybe
Yeah,
that's-
is that what? Okay,
I don't know, maybe
this-
I did,
yeah.
maybe I didn't.
I think you want to rewrite this obit now. So that's not what's going to happen.
You know,
You don't have to rewrite it. It's just that
Yeah.
you said it then, but that was the hurt and the fear inside of you that you weren't really showing to anybody else, except in those words right there. That was the only time in that whole interview when you really had that moment of, man, I'm scared. And it's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
But then you have to take that step back in anything in life, whether it's cancer or fighting for a job or fighting for a position on a football team or a baseball team or anything like that. You could be fearful and be afraid. Muhammad Ali was afraid every time he stepped into the ring. He admitted to that. So you'd be crazy if you weren't.
See, that's the fear part. That is the motivator, because, like I said, if it's a diet, you could cheat on your diet and get back, and that's not. You're going to gain a few pounds or you won't lose weight. But when you have just fear, everything you do, how's it going to affect me? Is this good or bad, or you got to use that as motivation, more or less too as well. Not like to run a 40-yard dash or something to break a record just to save your life. I mean, that's as plain as I could be. I mean, I didn't know if an extra mile hike would save me from cancer, but I was going to do it anyway,
You had the right things, but the most important thing was not only the physical things you did, but the right frame of mind, that positive mental attitude that you had, that you just were, like Jim Valvano says, never, never quit.
Yeah.
Never, never give up. You didn't. You didn't quit. You didn't give up, and you're one now that could go out and tell the story and hopefully motivate somebody else to work a little harder, believe in themselves. Because there is no test for this. There is no way you can get a blood test for this. There is no aptitude test or whatever. But positive mental attitude and aptitude really does make a difference in everything you do in life. If you go into something with the idea of, I can't beat it, I can't win this part in the play, I can't learn how to play this instrument, I can't do that, you're not. You've already defeated yourself. But if you go in there with that positive mental attitude like you had with this.
You got to want to live. I mean,
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
No, that sounds.
I mean,
I can't fathom. I said it before and I say it again. I can't fathom what you went through on a daily basis. And when you talk about the people who come up and say, hey, Ray, I'm really with you. I'm praying for you. I'm really with you. I read your Facebook stuff. Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah.
Then they go on their way and they live their life. Nobody's fighting that fight except you.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what you went through or other cancer patients go through every single day.
And the Facebook stuff was, that was a release for me, and I know a lot of people followed along, and because there were terms I didn't know any of this kind of stuff, so maybe I could make somebody a little bit more familiar with their plight if they're going through it, or they just found out about it, or anything in general. I mean,
Gary is living proof that positive mental attitude and not giving up is why you're sitting here today, and why you're going to continue to go on, see your daughter graduate, see your daughter get married, stay with Bucknuts, get down at Ohio State, taking those pictures.
It'll be my 18th season,
and
hopefully with Urban.
And then, he's not going anywhere. And even that, this is taping
Yes.
before anything's
Yes.
announced. He's
Yes.
not going anywhere.
Well,
I don't think so.
We're hoping. So.
Yeah, I don't think
mean,
so. He might get a game or two.
Possibly.
That might
but
be
if he's exonerated, why should he even get a big game or two?
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I think it's because then they could say, well, we did something.
Sure.
But that's a
Looking forward
conversation
to it.
for
Go
the
Bucs.
radio then.
Yeah.
We could have that there. Gary,
Jeff,
God
thank
bless you.
Thank
And
you so much.
congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Proud of you and for never quitting, never giving up. And hopefully you're going to go out and help some other people and have some words for them. You ever see this guy walking down the street? Don't be afraid to go
Boardman
up to him. In Boardman Park or at the Y. And if you know somebody that's fighting in the battle right now, or if you're fighting the battle right now, don't be afraid to go up to him and talk to him.
Yes.
He's got some great encouraging words for you.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, for those of you that followed along and took an interest and donated, contributed, just cared or said hello or anything. And all those, that means a lot when you're going through it. When you know people care, I mean, it does. It means a lot. And I've been very fortunate enough. And, like I said, now, if I could do anything to help if you're facing the same battles, I'm on Facebook. Send me a message, and I'll be glad to try to give you any kind of support or anything that I could to help and make it easier for you, because I know a little bit about what you're going through. And,
A little bit, yeah. 15 months of a little bit.
But it's been a great experience, and I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, but God, I mean, hopefully if you get to experience some of the great things that I've been able to in the last year and a half, if you will.
All righty.
Thank you.
Gary.
Thanks.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
We'll see you again next year.
It's up to you.
Next year, same time, same place. We're going to be right back and finish out 66 Days of Success.
Thank you all.
And welcome back to 66 Days of Success. I hope you liked the interview with Gary, our second interview now with him. It's very inspirational to me. I cannot tell you, I cannot imagine what he went through during those 15 months of battling that every single day to finally getting to the point when he didn't even expect to hear it, but heard the words cancer-free. The elation that he must have felt is just undescribable. He didn't even have words for it. But it was a great interview. Gary's a great guy. Again, if you see him on the street, walk up, say hello to him. He's a great person. If you know somebody who's battling cancer, or if you are and you see him, go to him for some words of encouragement. Gary is a tremendous, tremendous young man, and he's a model that I know I look up to, and I'm so happy that we were able to come back and do this interview earlier than a year, like we said we would. So that's going to do it for this this episode of 66 Days to Success. I'm Jeff Ondash. Next month, we are going to war. We're going to war on hunger. And I'm going to need all of you out there to help us, because we're going to defeat, and there's no reason why we can't, we're going to defeat hunger in the Mahoning Valley, and you're going to help. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon. Take care. Have a great month.